week this week is, should you leave old friends behind on the rise to the top? So I'll repeat that. Should you leave old friends behind on the rise to the top? I can see Sue nodding. Sue, yes?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the question is phrased quite interestingly. Do you mean old friends or close friends? Because your good friends who you've relied on, they will always look out for you. But there are some friends who you grow up with them and you don't have the same interests. And they don't necessarily have the same outlook on life. You know, they're not necessarily positive. Now, those type of friends,
You can't.
People would consider their friends their family, you know, as good because you pick your friends and their family. So I think some people really, really treasure their friends. But I'm just making the point that some friends, as you grow older, you don't necessarily have the same interests and you're not necessarily in the same direction. And you get time poor as you grow older because your ambitions and everything else come into play.
I don't know, I think the ones that you're more likely I think the ones that fall into an odd category are perhaps those that you make in the workplace. So you make friends in the workplace and then maybe you move to another role. And for whatever reasons, maybe you don't have as much in common with them anymore. But I've always kept one or two friends from each job I've had. But I mean, I certainly know my older friends, you know, from school and from university, and, you know, there's no way.
There is an attitude, though, amongst certain types of career women whereby they feel that it's okay to pick people up along the way, you know, feed off of them, suck them dry, as it were, and spit them out when they don't need them anymore.
To kind of use as they're going.
Yeah, and I think that's an awful attitude. I mean, for me, I personally think loyalty is everything, and I think it's not all about what you can get from people. You never know tomorrow, so to speak, do you? And I think if, you know, if someone's been good to you and they are your friend, then...
But would you consider a friend? That could just be an acquaintance, and you can give back as much as you take.
Okay, before you two debate this, and I will come back to this, let's get some of our callers in. So throughout the show, we're going to have the number at the bottom. We want to hear what you have to say. Are there, for example, some friends that as you were rising to the top, you felt enough was enough, and, you know, we don't have anything in common anymore, and therefore you've left them behind? Or are there people that, like Abby, you believe in loyalty, you've got to hold on to them irrespective because they were there from you right from the beginning? Okay, so let's, you guys were saying, my darlings.
You were saying.
I'm just saying some people you come across, and it is a business relationship, it's an acquaintance, right?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, it depends. You're right, it does depend on the nature of your relationship.
And it is how you treat them. You have to be...
one at a time.
No, you do have to be very careful that you're not using people and that you're not just using people to get ahead, because that will come back on you.
Absolutely.
That, you know, you never know where that person's going to go.
What do you call
people
using
aren't
people?
Silly.
What do you call using people?
Well, it's that we're saying, do you drop people to get to, you know, to get ahead?
Get to the top.
But what if they're just an associate, as Sue's saying? What if
Then they're not a friend, are they?
But it's a very grey area, because sometimes people make their associates their friends in order to get what they need out of them.
That sounds like a good strategy.
So what about this concept of, you know, there are some friends for a lifetime, there's some friends for a season, there's some friends for a reason?
Absolutely.
That's very true.
So how does that fit in then? You meet somebody, your associates, develops into a friendship, doesn't work.
But that's not dropping people on your way to the top and using people. That's just...
Social,
You just have, you know, some friends you do kind of grow apart from.
Yes.
You know, and it is a shame, and it's a fact of life. But also fitting everybody, you know, keeping in touch with everyone all the time and being able to see them constantly, you know, it becomes quite difficult.
It's certainly not about sort of outgrowing people. You know, feeling that you've outgrown people because you're apparently on your way to the top and they're way behind you.
Okay, I'm going to cut you guys. I want to know what our viewers think. Viewers, so I want to hear what you guys think. Call us in. Is it a case of, you know, you're dropping people, you're using people, you're abusing people to get to the top? Is it a case that, yeah, that's just how it works? We've got a caller on the line. Let's find out what our callers have to say. Hi there, caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Okay, it would appear the caller's disappeared. Okay, so ladies, you were saying.
Well, no, I think we were sort of...
about to have World War IV.
We're agreeing with each other.
We're agreeing.
Sue's basically the sister that...
I'm just saying.
Who's the one you want to watch?
So Sue, you were saying, my
If
darling.
you need to do Madonna, you know, you have to do what it takes to get to the top.
Anything, Sue?
Well, I mean, you know, we were talking about using your sexuality, remember in one show, and that you can draw the line there.
Yeah.
If you do need to communicate with someone, I mean, how long can you keep that relationship open? You just have to
I think I partly agree with you in that. I think
treat
that
people with respect.
yes, well, treat people with respect, but I think there are some friends who, as you're going along the path to success, their motives change. They're no longer happy for you. They want to hold you back. They want to pull you back. And I think people like that should not be in your life. And I think you've got to cut them off.
I mean, I don't think I have any friends like that. You know, they're not friends, are they?
They're not friends, but if you've grown up with them from primary school or secondary school and you've got a close relationship, and then that relationship changes, you need to be open enough and honest enough with yourself to say, actually, you know what,
do a bit of life's laundry.
A bit of life's laundry. The dynamics have changed here, and I need to move on.
And people's motives do change over time.
True.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like any negative sort of impact. If something's having any sort of negative impact on you, then you have to remove it from your life. If it's negative, but simply outgrowing someone because you've got, I don't know, another zero on your salary, or you've got a new car, or whatever it is you think you've got on the way up, is not really good enough.
See, I'm always really happy for my friends when they do really,
Absolutely.
really well. So it's not something that I would consider someone would be unhappy.
Yeah, let's all rise up together.
Yeah,
absolutely. Who wants to be at the top and be lonely, hey? Exactly. I'm one of these people, when I go out, I love to go out and my girlfriends look good. Because you know when you go out and you all look good, there's a certain thing, there's a certain swagger that happens, a certain dynamic. I think so. I think so. Don't you think, House?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with you,
Yeah.
I mean...
No, but there's some people that, you know... Okay.
Everybody wants to look good, and I'd like to think that, you'd want your friends to look just as good as well.
Yeah, but there's some women that don't think that.
Apparently, I'm beginning to realise these things.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I'm quite naive when it comes to things like that, because I'd like to think like you, Sophie. I'm always, I choose my friends quite carefully, and most of the people around me are quite positive. But I'm beginning to realise that it's a harsh world out there.
It is.
And you do get some really bad-minded people.
You do. I have a question, which is, how do you feel about our topic of the week? Should we leave old friends behind on the rise to the top?
Interesting question, actually. And a couple of years ago, I remember someone said to me, you must always lift as you climb. So as you elevate yourself, you should bring up people behind you. But also, I think it might have been Sue who had mentioned that there are some people who are leaves. They're on the branch, they're in your life for a season, they blow that way, they blow that way. All of us probably only have 6 roots. And they're the people that, regardless of whatever you do to them, they will always be with you. So I'm sort of a bit on the fence.
Yeah, I like that. Was it
Lift as you
I like that, yeah, I've not heard that.
Now, I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to push it out there, as I sometimes do. I agree in principle, but sometimes those weights are so heavy that if you're trying to lift them, they're only going to pull you back down again. How do you make that decision, and when do you make that decision?
I think you know in your gut feeling whether someone's right for you. And it's not about using anyone, it's about deciding who is actually a friend and who is an acquaintance. And for me it's quite clear. In my business you're either an asset or a liability, and if you're on the wrong side of liability, I'm afraid you have to go.
Absolutely. Love that. I like that. I'm sorry, it's honest, it's true.
And you have to be honest to yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're running a business, you can bring your friends into your business, but I've always said to people, you need to be quite honest and ensure that you have a contract with that person, because don't ever employ someone you can't sack. So
yeah, mixing friendship and business
is slightly
difficult.
different, which is slightly off key from the actual question itself. But in principle, don't leave too much bad karma out there.
Absolutely not. I think that's exactly
it might come back.
Yeah, you were going to say so.
No, I exactly agree with that. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You know, you just, because it will come back to haunt you. I think. You know, and there's no need to anyway.
But I think it's a fine. I think it's a fine line, because I think that in business, I mean, we have moved away slightly from the original topic of the week. But I think in business, the reality is, if you're not delivering, you're not delivering. Friend, family, or foe, you're not delivering. But I think there's a slightly different question, which is about friendship and business, and when you choose to bring somebody into business, when you choose to say, actually, you're the wrong character to come into business with me. Because I've got some friends who are wonderful, wouldn't do business with them. Love them to bits, but wouldn't do business.
Mixing business and friendships is always a bit of a murky area.
Yeah, it's a murky area, I
difficult.
think. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, I've done a number of contracts at the Empire with some friends, and it's always worked out okay in the end. You've just got to keep that sort of business and personal side completely separate, I think, really. Get the job done. So.
Okay, all right.
If you want to mix business and pleasure, I can help you, because we have employment lawyers.
Do tell us about Webster Dixon Solicitors.